Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and welcome yet again to another edition of What Really Matters NYC with your host, Tony Keevan, and of course, our commentator, Lorraine. Commentator Lorraine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
And if you haven't been as part of our viewing audience before, we are What Really Matters NYC every Wednesday live at 8 p.m. And of course, you are the star of the show. You can dial in on this number and get right on the air. Well, actually the number's not up there, but it'll get up there in a minute. And we will get you on the air and we'll talk about whatever topics you want to talk about. There you go, 347-871-5571. And tonight we have a guest. His name is Allan Knight. We were trying to connect with him on the video on Skype, but the video doesn't work, so we're going to just talk to him audio-wise. But before we get to Allan, Lorraine, so Donald looks like he's winning.
Yeah, and it looks like Hillary's very sick.
Well, we'll talk more about that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, NYC Weather Dude comes on at 8:15. You don't want to miss that. And then we're going to play the number 2 Billboard Hot 100 song. It's called Heathens by 21 Pilots, so you'll enjoy that. But let's get to our guest. Allan, how are you?
I'm doing great, Tony. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So your site is called Connect with Power, and you've got a bunch of things that you've been doing, so tell us about them. The title we've got up here is How to Communicate Your Way to Better Relationships, so I think that's what we're talking about tonight. And typically we talk about topics that deal with Manhattan, but we thought we'd just take a break and deal with a topic there where we can all help and maybe improve our lives a little bit. So kind of a pivot of the show here. So tell us, Allan, who you are and what you're about.
Well, just a quick overview. I'm originally a neighbor of yours from Montreal back east. I'm currently in Vancouver. And a bit about how I got involved in the training profession and created a program called Connect with Power is when I was 13 years old, my mother was diagnosed with cancer and told she had 6 months to live. And she lived for about 20 years, and she was my first role model of the power of the human spirit. And then my father died when I was 19, and I decided to take a year off university, psychology degree, travel around the world, and I came close to dying on the desert. So far, this is a very motivational talk. And I came back to Montreal, and I had a very dramatic change in my life. And maybe some people in New York could relate to it, because living in a big city can be very overwhelming. And there was I had little panic attacks, and I was a bit not clear about my life and about myself and stressed out. And I met some amazing people that were living in what was called a Zen meditation center. And I actually lived as a Zen monk for 9 years of my life. So that was quite a life-changing experience, coming close to dying on the desert. And then being a monk helped me to sort of center myself, and then realized I missed girls too much. So I left the monastery and came back into the world, took some sales jobs, telemarketing jobs, believe it or not, and realized I had some skill in communication, went back to get a master's degree in education and counseling psychology. And my thesis was the quality of relationships with others begin with the quality of relationship you have with yourself. And then one thing led to the other, and I started to realize that I was meant to create that the self-development industry was like a very multi-billion-dollar industry. And when I looked at it, I said, what can I do that's a little bit unique and different? And I saw that there were a lot of rah-rah seminars, a lot of books, but people would come into my office after spending $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 on self-help. And this is not to put it down, I've benefited from many myself. But I realized something was missing, and I put together over the years more of an inner and verbal fitness program. It's a 9-step formula, which helps people fast track their ability to get into that Zen zone, build their inner confidence, and communicate with a lot more confidence, clarity, and impact in their business and personal relationships. So that's kind of a nutshell overview of a bit about who I am.
Well, and Lorraine, you hop on and anytime you want to. So let's talk a little bit. We've got like 9 minutes here. And of course, communications is, you've got your 9-point plan. Maybe you could share a point or two with us. But within the context of, there was an article in The Economist this week. They're talking about the art of the lie in politicians. And, Trump is up in the polls. It looks like, he's got 8 weeks to go. And it's very difficult to undo a trend 8 weeks away from election. I've been in a number of them. So once you can shift it, but something dramatic's got to happen. So let's say this trend continues. I mean, he will be our next president, and his communication style is certainly different, and many people are not attracted to it. Yet he seems to be, quote unquote, winning the argument. So talk a little about your 9 points, or give us a tip on one of them, I guess, and maybe try to relate that to why he is doing well in communicating.
I wanted to ask a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to know, was that near-death experience, did that help you understand that your interaction and your connection and your communication was less stressful? Did it make you less stressful? Is that one of the points that you address in your book?
I think it's one factor. I think getting in that Zen zone, and I like to call it, is one of the first steps that really helps. But one of the things that I've learned is when I left the monastery, I wasn't living in the Himalayan mountains. I was living in North America, and the key is, how do you live in that zone in the chaotic life that we have? And being in New York, I think you could relate to that, right? So I knew that I needed to create a system that combined the mental fitness with lifestyle fitness. So absolutely, I believe that 80% of our communication with other people begin from inside. It oozes out from our passion, our joy, our inner peace. But if we have too many fears and insecurities and jealousy and anger, and the list goes on, that emotional, psychological turbulence is going to result in control, manipulation, timidity, codependent relationships. And I think that relates to politics. If you want, I could give my opinion about that as well. But absolutely, to answer your question, it really has helped me a lot.
So
you would say, living in the Himalayas definitely made you more spiritual, and that probably really helped you a lot to communicate more powerfully.
Yeah, but what I've discovered is you don't have to be in the Himalayan mountains to actually get in the Zen zone. That's why I created this fast-track 9-step system. The first 7 have to do with empowering yourself. So part of that is getting in the zone, building your confidence overall, and with joy, passion, and kind of confidence, then you could focus on, how am I going to inspire people? How am I going to impact them? How am I going to help them? Not how am I going to beat them or control them or manipulate them. And I think most of the relationships that are dysfunctional is because the self is dysfunctional.
Okay, except that Mr. Trump has a very functional relationship with a majority of the audience right now. So, but is there any way you can tell us one of the points, one of the 9 points, or 2 of the points, or give us a hint of how the points work?
Absolutely. But Tony, could I just comment a bit on Trump just for a second?
Sure, yeah.
My take is, just like all relationships, we have a relationship with the politicians. I don't think it's a bad thing that Trump and Bernie Sanders, 2 opposite sides of the polls, is happening, because I believe that all relationships start with empowering ourselves. And for too long, we've been sort of controlled and manipulated, or allowed ourselves as the average person to be manipulated by the corporate elite. And that's why so many people are sort of against the corporate elite, and it has nothing to do with Republicans or Democrats. And I think Trump has tapped into that. Bernie Sanders has tapped in. And I think the good news is, the more and more people take charge of their own lives and participate in the process, I think that's a positive thing. And I don't know if Trump would be a great president or not, but I think there are a lot of things that I like about the fact that he's not so politically correct, and he probably would take some good action as opposed to some of the corporate elite. So I think in general, I see some good possibilities for the future.
Wow, another crystal ball. Listen to that. So tell us.
It makes me feel like you're sort of explaining that you sort of step out of yourself, but you really take care of yourself. And so if you take care of yourself spiritually and emotionally and physically, then you're able to just function on a higher level anyway.
Totally. That's why one of the new programs we're launching very soon is called the Soulmate Revolution. And I'm going to redefine the term soulmates, because when you get to high-level relationship, which I think is the highest level of monogamy, if you want to talk about romantic, if any individual is feeling great and peaceful and calm and great in their own skin, they're much more likely to unconditionally love people around them. So yeah, to answer your question, for sure. Now, to get to your point, Tony, I think if I was going to take take one point. I think the best thing I could do is I simplify everything under what I call VMAC. V is for vision. So if we clarify and crystallize our vision and our purpose for life, then we go into M. M is for motivation and mindset. If we're going to get to achieve what our vision is, we've got to have a very strong sense of our inner world, our inner power, our inner fitness. So that's where I deal with the rational mind, the emotional mind, and the big intuitive clear mind. Then A is for action and accountability, because we need to take action both in our business and our personal life. And those three lead to C, which is mastering your communication. So the 9 steps really are all about those 4 key cylinders. And if we master those cylinders from the inside out, our lives will be, I don't care if we're in New York or New Delhi or wherever we are, we could be at peace with ourselves and start to create much more functional relationships, get rid of negative stuff that's bringing us down, and live in freedom within the chaos of the world. And that's my commitment.
Well, I really want to say, I really think that that's really amazing. And I think the top one vision is that a lot of people don't even ever think of that word. And that's just an amazing concept that you have brought to the top of your list, which is really the most important. And I really commend you for that. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so, we're going to end on this great note, Allan. I'm going to let everyone know that the site is called connectwithpower.com. And, it's a pity we don't have the video, but we appreciate your hanging on there with the audio. And Lorraine, thanks for asking the great questions.
Tony, if I could just jump in.
Yeah.
Next 24 hours, anyone that's listening to your program, we've decided that if anyone goes to connectwithpower.com/Tony, they will get a free 1 hour's coaching session with me for the next 24 hours.
Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen. You should take advantage of that, okay? So connectwithpower.com
.com/Tony.
There you go, .com/Tony. I've even got URLs named after me now, getting so famous. All right, Allan, thank you so much, okay?
Thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, take care. All right, commentator Lorraine, how about that? You were impressed.
Yeah, that was a lot better than I expected.
Well, there you go.
He came around in the end.
Yeah, and I'm a pity he didn't have his video working, because it definitely was on his end. I want to thank Bob, our cameraman, and EarthCam, of course, for the free Times Square background. The live. That's how you know our show's live, ladies and gentlemen. You watch the live Times Square EarthCam. And, of course, while we have a minute here, thank you, Ryan, for producing, and Jordan for putting it on the air and for setting up the show. And we're going to change the slide now, ladies and gentlemen, to we got another slide. It's open phones, and it's a little bit about my prediction that Trump will be president. So I just want everyone to sit back and, I've been in politics a lot, done a lot of elections, and the trend that started is not stoppable.
Well, I think that the thing with Hillary this past week was really unfortunate. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I just read this gigantic article on sepsis, and that means total poisoning of the body, and one of the ways you get that is through pneumonia or bladder infections. It can poison your whole body, and you can die.
You think that's what she's got?
They said she had pneumonia. When you get older, it's very, very dangerous because it can lead to sepsis, which is poisoning of the body. The whole body is like infected.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a little break and reach out to NYC Weather Dude.
Unknown caller. To add this caller to your current call, press 5.
Hello, you're on the air while we're trying to reach out to NYC Weather Dude. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, I'm calling about Trump being president.
Go ahead, my friend.
Trump's polls have always been higher than what they have reflected, and now they're just coming out. If you take the same thing going back into the 60s, when the civil rights that started kicking off, and and that blacks started running for offices other than congressmen and state assemblies and stuff, when they started running for the mayor and statewide offices and all of these things, that they used to poll people saying, are you going to vote for him? And people would say, yes, I'm voting for the black candidate, but this is not something I'm saying. This is what was done in surveys after that. When people went to the election, the black candidates lost, and then they found out it was because even though it was a private poll that, that people didn't want to be seen as racist, so they said, yes, I'm going to vote for the black candidate. And the same thing is happening with Trump now, that people were saying, I'm not going to vote for Trump, but in reality, they were going to vote for Trump, but they didn't want to be seen as anti-PC. But now, more people that fall into that category are coming out of the closet and saying, yes, I'm going to vote for Trump, if you can understand what I just said.
Yeah, I understand completely what you just said. It's a really good point that, in the end...
I saw that all throughout the 60s when the civil rights blacks...
Even in the last election when Bloomberg was...
I'm going to vote for him,
Yeah, hold on, my friend. We got the NYC weather dude up on the screen. So let's take his weather and we'll join back with you in a second, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to ask the NYC weather dude a question, you got him here too. But let's jump to him real quick. How you doing, NYC weather dude?
I'm good, Tony. How are you doing?
We're doing great. We're so happy to see you. So why don't you just jump right into the weather for us? We'll put up the slide and you can take it away, all right?
Sure.
Go for it.
All right, cool. So starting off, it looks like we're going to have a double 75 Thursday and Friday. Moving to Saturday, slight increase, nothing you're really going to feel, to a 77. Sunday again, nothing you're really going to notice, a 78. But we do have the rain, so watch out for that on Sunday. Going to Monday, we have a slight increase again, stooping up to 80 degrees, and going back down to Tuesday, 79 degrees. All the way to next Wednesday, we have our high point of 82. So the largest transition looks like we're going to go from 75 tomorrow and Friday to 82 all the way to next Wednesday. Moving to my motivational quote, and this one I have a quick story for. It says, if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. And that's an anonymous quote, but the story that goes along with it is, I was once, I think I told you guys this story, but to sum it up, I guess, it'd be that to make any type of large decision, you have to realize that no one's going to ever tell you to take a risk. No one's ever going to stop asking for your peers' approval and permission. So sometimes you have to break rules, not like the law or anything, but break those kind of rules where you would feel that, oh, is this okay? Am I really going to do this? Just take a chance and strive for success. Now, my health tip, and this is something that I think a lot of people struggle with when starting some kind of exercise program, is that they don't know their limits, which forces them to be very intimidated when approaching an exercise routine. So, for example, if you look at the fitness industry, it's already very intimidating as it is on its own. But if you try to go to the gym and you see somebody really killing it, you're going to be intimidated, saying, wow, I could never do that. But the largest key to understand is that you don't need to be doing that. You can do something that is challenging for you at your level. That's challenging for them at their level, but you always have to start where you feel most comfortable. And so I'll leave you guys with that thought as a motivation and health tip with the weather. So thank you very much.
NYC Weather Dude, we thank you very much. You're always so excellent. Lorraine, have any last question for NYC Weather Dude before he goes back to his class?
Well, what's a good exercise for men if they have back trouble? Because I know many men who have lower back problems, and the pain doesn't go away. So what's a good exercise to help that?
I wouldn't really say that there are exercises to fix your back pain. There are exercises where you can work on fixing some of the smaller muscles in your upper back to fix your posture, or lower back pain can be the cause of it's like the number one cause. It's like 83% of Americans are affected by lower back pain, and the causes can be anything from your posture, the way that you sit when you're at a desk all day, the shoes that you wear. So I really can't recommend a specific exercise to fix lower back pain. But what I can recommend is that you go to a physical therapist, because they'll be able to analyze each unique situation and then help you get to a better solution.
Okay, NYC Weather Dude, we thank you so much. Hey, caller, you want to say hello to NYC Weather Dude? He's super famous.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man. Say hello to NYC Weather Dude.
I'll say hello to the NYC is the weather dude, but the NYC weather dude sounds nothing but to me like a identical college student spilling stuff that when he goes into the real world, all that stuff he's talking is going to be irrelevant.
All right. What are you saying?
Well, I disagree with you, sir. He's basically said that all the stuff you're talking is sort of idyllic college stuff, but in the real world, it's not really like that.
Okay, well, I'll enlighten him a little bit. I actually am in the real world, so I do pay for all my own stuff. I have a full-time job. So even while I'm in college, that's something I'm taking on top of being in the real world and being a functioning individual. Any of the insights that I spread on this show, really, I try to tell people to add on top of, because it's easy to put anyone into the real world. But what's hard is to constantly improve yourself, and that's something that I always try to do. And one of my own problems is taking on too much. So I guess in general, just to educate you, I'm not the typical college student. I have a lot of experience in motivating people, and that's just what I try to do. So in situations like this, I'm spreading some of my own thoughts that push me to not only be in college, but also to be a functioning individual doing regular things.
Well said, NYC Weather Dude. Caller, listen, that was a really good comeback I think he had. So, NYC Weather Dude, well, caller, you want to say goodnight? Because we're going to... No, all right, we're going to say good... Listen.
Is that good night, Gracie?
Yeah, okay, good night. We love you. You have a good evening. NYC Weather Dude, we love you more. And we're going to let you go. We're going to play the number 2 Hot 100 Billboard song. You know what it is? It's Heathens by 21 Pilots. Have you seen the video?
I have not. I've been trying not to stick to the mainstream radio. It's not my perfect mix. Sometimes I'll get a wind of it, but I have not heard that.
Okay, well 21 Pilots, I share your feeling, but I like 21 Pilots. Well, you have a good evening, and thank you for joining us, and thank you so much for what you just said, okay? We really appreciate it, all of us here at NYC, What Really Matters in YC. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Peace and love, guys. Peace
and love to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, watch this video and enjoy, okay? Turn it way up. 21 Pilots, Heathens, Billboard's number 2 of the Hot 100.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. Welcome to the room of people who have rooms of people that they love one day docked away. Just because we check the guns at the door doesn't mean our brains will change from hand grenades. You love another psychopath sitting next to you. You love another murderer sitting next to you. You think I'd get it sitting next to you. But after all I've said, please don't forget. All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. We don't deal with outsiders very well. They say newcomers have a certain smell. Yeah, trust issues not to mention. They say they can smell your intentions. You laughing on the freak show sitting next to you. You laugh some weird people sitting next to you. You think how did I get here sitting next to you? But after all I've said, please don't forget. All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. Why'd you come? You knew you should have stayed. I tried to warn you just to stay away. And now they're outside ready to buzz. It looks like you might be one of us.
Sometimes you feel like that. Lorraine, you still with us here?
Oh, yeah, it was kind of weird.
They're weird, yeah, but you know, it's 21 Pilots. They're a little bit weird, and it's creative. You gotta, let it sink in a couple times, but I don't know, it's better than a lot of that other kind of bubblegum stuff what I see, so anything that's slightly different, we go for. Lorraine, I want to, I don't know if that other caller's still on. You still on, sir? No, he dropped
I
off.
think he left.
Yeah. Lorraine, thank you so much. You really made the interview tonight,
Yeah, well, I wanted to thank that caller. I know he didn't really understand where the juice comes from, but I think that your guest was really powerful. The vision, motivation, action, and accountability and communications, all of that. That man who called in could get a free sermon from that guy or a lesson, and it would really help everyone.
Peace, love everybody. Thank you.